Not everyone who asks for help truly wants to change. It's one of life's hardest truths to swallow, but it's also one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn. You have a limited amount of time, energy, and resources, and how you choose to use them matters. When you give these precious resources to someone who isn't ready to change, you're not only wasting what you've worked hard for, you're also holding them back from facing the lessons they need to learn. True help is about empowerment, not enabling. It's about stepping in when someone is ready, not when they're looking for an easy way out. I had to think about it. How many times have you poured yourself into helping someone only to see them fall back into the same habits, the same patterns, the same destructive cycles? It's frustrating, isn't it? You invest your time, your advice, your energy, but nothing changes. That's because change doesn't come from the outside. It has to come from within. You can't force someone to want it. They have to be willing to do the work themselves. This doesn't mean you stop being compassionate or caring. It means you get intentional about where and how you help. There's a big difference between offering a hand to someone who's climbing and carrying someone who refuses to stand. One is an act of support. The other is an act of burden. When you carry someone who isn't ready, you're not helping them. You're enabling them to stay where they are. You're taking away the struggle they need to grow. Growth happens in discomfort. And sometimes the best way to help someone is to let them feel the weight of their own choices. There's another side to this too. Helping people who aren't ready doesn't just hurt them, it hurts you. It drains your energy, your focus, and your momentum. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of frustration and resentment, wondering why your efforts aren't making a difference. It pulls you away from your own goals, your own growth, and the people in your life who genuinely need and value your support. Every moment you spend on someone who isn't ready is a moment you're taking away from someone who is. You have to start asking yourself, is this worth it? Am I truly helping or am I just enabling? To help someone in a meaningful way, they have to be ready to receive it. Readiness isn't about how much they plead for help or how desperate their situation seems. It's about their mindset and actions. Are they taking accountability for their circumstances? Are they willing to do the hard work of change? Are they seeking solutions? Or are they just looking for someone to fix their problems for them? These are the questions you have to ask before you step in. Because if the answer is no, your help isn't going to create lasting change. It's just going to create dependency. This might sound harsh, but it's actually one of the most loving things you can do. When you refuse to enable someone, you're giving them the opportunity to grow. You're giving them the chance to face their own challenges, learn their own lessons, and build their own strength. That's real help. That's what changes lives. But it takes courage to step back and let someone struggle. It takes faith to believe they'll find their way, even without you. And it takes wisdom to know when your intervention is truly needed and when it's not. Let's not forget that there are people out there who do want to change, who are ready to grow, and who need your support to get there. These are the people you should focus on. These are the ones who will take what you offer and use it to build something greater. They'll appreciate your help, value your time, and respect your energy. Helping these people isn't just rewarding, it's impactful. It's the kind of help that makes a real difference. But to help the right people, you have to let go of the wrong ones. You have to learn to say no, even when it feels uncomfortable. You have to set boundaries, even when it feels difficult. And you have to trust that letting someone face their own struggles doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to let them grow. Life is too short to waste on people who aren't ready to change. Your time and energy are gifts, and you have to be intentional about how you use them. Start looking at who's in your life, who's asking for your help, and whether they're ready to receive it. Stop feeling guilty for saying no to people who aren't ready. Stop letting their unwillingness to change hold you back from your own growth. True help empowers. True help challenges. True help respects the journey of growth, not just for the person asking for it, but for you as well. Learn to recognize the difference between helping and enabling. Learn to invest your energy where it truly matters. And most importantly, remember that sometimes the best way to help someone is to let them stand on their own. Establishing boundaries is one of the most powerful and necessary acts of self-respect you can practice. It's not always easy, especially when you've been conditioned to believe that saying yes is the same as being kind or helpful. But the truth is, setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It's about protecting your peace, preserving your energy, and making room for the things that truly matter. Without boundaries, you're not just overextending yourself, you're risking burnout and resentment, both of which can poison even the most meaningful relationships. Boundaries are not walls. They're not about isolating yourself from the world or refusing to care about others. They're more like gates open to those who respect your time, energy, and needs, and closed to those who don't. Think about how much of your time gets consumed by distractions, unnecessary obligations, or people who don't respect your limits. Now, imagine what you could achieve if you redirected that time and energy toward your purpose, your growth, and the people who uplift you. Boundaries are how you take back control. One of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is that they're selfish. They're not. In fact, they're one of the most selfless things you can do. When you set boundaries, you're not just protecting yourself, you're also giving others a clear framework for how to interact with you. You're teaching them how to value your time and energy, and in doing so, you're fostering healthier, more respectful relationships. Without boundaries, you might find yourself giving endlessly only to feel unappreciated or taken advantage of. Boundaries help prevent that dynamic. It's important to understand that not everyone will respect your boundaries, especially at first. Some people will push back, test your limits, or try to guilt you into bending your rules. This is especially true if they've grown accustomed to you saying yes to everything. But their resistance doesn't mean your boundaries are wrong. It means they're working. When someone reacts negatively to your boundaries, it's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of their inability to respect the space you need. Setting boundaries requires courage. It's not always easy to say no, especially when you care about someone or when you're worried about their reaction. But here's the thing. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to something that can fill you up. You're saying no to your own priorities, your own peace, and your own peace. Learning to say no is an act of self-preservation. It's not about rejecting others, it's about choosing yourself. Boundaries are also a way to model self-respect for the people around you. When you enforce your limits, you're showing others what it looks like to value yourself. This can be incredibly inspiring, especially for people who struggle with boundaries themselves. Your example can encourage them to set their own limits and take control of their lives. But remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving without refilling your own energy, you won't have anything left to give. One of the most challenging aspects of boundaries is deciding where to draw the line. This requires a deep understanding of your own needs, values, and priorities. Take some time to reflect on what truly matters to you. What are your non-negotiables? What are the things that drain you versus the things that energize you? Once you have clarity on these questions, you can start to define your boundaries with confidence. Enforcing boundaries isn't about being rigid or unyielding, it's about being intentional. There will be times when you choose to bend your rules for someone you care about deeply, and that's okay as long as it's your choice. The key is to ensure that these exceptions don't become the norm. You have to stay committed to protecting your energy and honoring your needs, even when it feels uncomfortable. It's also important to communicate your boundaries clearly. Don't expect people to read your mind or pick up on subtle hints. Be direct, honest and firm about what you need and why it matters. You don't owe anyone a long explanation or justification, but clear communication helps prevent misunderstandings and sets the tone for mutual respect. If someone continues to disregard your boundaries, it's a sign that they may not value your well-being, and you need to reevaluate their place in your life. Boundaries are not about pushing people away, they're about creating space for the right people and opportunities to come closer. When you protect your energy and prioritize your well-being, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who respect and appreciate you. You'll have more to give to the relationships and pursuits that truly matter, and you'll be able to show up as the best version of yourself. Boundaries are not a burden, they're a blessing for you and everyone around you. Patterns in behavior tell you everything you need to know about a person's mindset, priorities, and willingness to change. Recognizing these patterns is crucial because they reveal whether someone is genuinely seeking growth or simply looking for a crutch to lean on. When someone repeatedly displays the same negative behaviors, excuses, blame shifting, or a lack of follow through, it's a clear sign that they're stuck. Trying to help them without addressing these deeper issues only perpetuates the cycle and drains your energy in the process. You've probably encountered people who always have an excuse for why things aren't going their way. They'll tell you the system is against them, their circumstances are unfair, or other people are to blame. While external factors can play a role, staying in this mindset prevents any real progress. Excuses are easy. Accountability is hard. When someone is stuck in excuse mode, offering help doesn't lead to solutions. It only reinforces their belief that external factors, not their own actions, are the key to change. Blame shifting is another destructive pattern that keeps people from growing. These individuals point fingers at everyone else, their boss, their family, their friends, but never turn the lens inward. They avoid taking responsibility for their choices because it's easier to shift the burden to others. But until someone owns their role and their challenges, no amount of help will make a difference. Supporting someone stuck in blame shifting only enables them to stay in denial, wasting both your energy and theirs. Then there are those who lack follow through. They'll talk endlessly about their goals, dreams, and plans. But when it comes time to take action, nothing happens. Maybe they start strong but lose momentum at the first sign of difficulty. Maybe they never start at all, paralyzed by fear or doubt. Whatever the reason, these individuals aren't ready for the kind of help that leads to real progress. They don't need a handout or pep talk. They need to develop discipline, resilience, and the willingness to push through discomfort. Recognizing these patterns isn't about judging or dismissing people. It's about understanding where they are in their red and they're ready for the kind of support you can offer. Some people aren't in a place to grow. And that's okay, it's their journey, not yours. But you have to protect your own energy and focus. You can't let someone else's unwillingness to change drag you down or distract you from your own goals. Paying attention to patterns also helps you avoid wasting time on false promises. How many times have you heard someone say, "This time will be different," only to watch them repeat the same mistakes? Words are cheap. Actions tell the real story. Look at what people do, not just what they say. Are they taking small, consistent steps toward improvement? Or are they stuck in the same place, waiting for someone else to fix their problems? Patterns reveal whether someone is serious about change or just hoping for an easy way out. This doesn't mean you abandon everyone who's struggling. It means you set clear boundaries and expectations for the help you're willing to provide. For example, if someone asks for your advice, make it clear that you expect them to act on it. If they come back with the same problem and no progress, it's a sign that they're not ready to change. Be kind but firm. Let them know that you're there to support their growth, not to enable their stagnation. Recognizing patterns also applies to your own life. Are you constantly giving to people who don't appreciate or value your efforts? Are you stuck in a cycle of frustration because you're trying to help someone who isn't ready? Take a step back and evaluate your own behavior. Sometimes the best way to help others is to help yourself first. When you prioritize your own growth, you set an example for others to follow. You show them what's possible when you take ownership of your life and make intentional choices. It's important to remember that people can and do change, but only when they're ready. Your role is not to force that readiness, is to recognize when it's there and offer support in a way that empowers rather than enables. This might mean stepping back and letting someone face the consequences of their choices. It might mean saying no when your instinct is to say yes. And it might mean walking away from a relationship or situation that's draining you without leading to growth. You can't fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. You can't carry someone who refuses to walk. And you can't change someone who's not willing to change themselves. What you can do is focus on recognizing patterns, setting boundaries, and offering support when it's genuinely needed and appreciated. By doing this, you protect your energy, respect your own journey, and make space for the people in your life who are ready to grow alongside you. Patterns don't lie, learn to see them, and let them guide where you invest your time and energy. There are people who bring chaos wherever they go, and it's not always immediately apparent. They don't walk into your life announcing their intentions, but their actions speak louder than their words. These are the people who consistently leave situations worse than they found them, whether it's relationships, jobs, or even small interactions. They might seem charming, charismatic, or even well-meaning at first, but over time, their behavior reveals a pattern of dysfunction. The problem is, if you're not careful, their chaos will seep into your life, leaving you drained, distracted, and far from your goals. It's important to understand that not all chaos is loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle, manifesting as manipulation or a refusal to take responsibility for their actions. These are the individuals who always seem to have a problem, but never seem to find solutions. They might claim they want help or change, but their behavior tells a different story. They thrive in chaos because it allows them to avoid accountability. It gives them an excuse to stay stuck, and they often pull others into their storm to keep the focus off themselves. Being around someone like this can feel like walking on eggshells. You never know what version of them you're going to get. One day they might seem grateful for your help, and the next they're blaming you for their problems. Their chaos becomes your chaos, and suddenly you're spending more time putting out their fires than focusing on your own life. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind because you want to help. But you have to ask yourself, at what cost? Helping someone who thrives on chaos often becomes a never-ending cycle. They bring you their problems, you try to solve them, and then they find a way to create new ones. It's not that they can't change, it's that they don't want to or they're not ready. Change requires effort, accountability, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. For someone who thrives on chaos, that's often too much to handle. Instead, they rely on others to clean up their mess, all while refusing to take steps to prevent the mess in the first place. You might think you're doing the right thing by stepping in to help, but in reality, you're only enabling their behavior. The more you fix their problems for them, the less incentive they have to fix them for themselves. They learn that they can create chaos and someone else will always come to the rescue. This dynamic doesn't just hurt you, it hurts them too. By constantly stepping in, you're robbing them of the opportunity to grow, learn, and take responsibility for their actions. It's not easy to step back, especially if you care about the person. You might feel guilty, like you're abandoning them in their time of need. But stepping back isn't abandonment, it's tough love. It's recognizing that you can't save someone who isn't willing to save themselves. It's setting boundaries to protect your own peace and well-being. And it's trusting that when they're ready, they'll find their own way out of the chaos. Boundaries are essential when dealing with someone who thrives on chaos. These boundaries aren't about punishing them or cutting them off entirely. They're about protecting yourself. Maybe it means limiting the time you spend with them or being clear about what kind of support you're willing to offer. For example, you might decide that you'll listen to them vent, but won't step in to solve their problems. Or you might choose to distance yourself entirely if their chaos is having a significant negative impact on your life. It's also important to surround yourself with people who bring calm, not chaos, into your life. Think about the people who inspire you, support you, and encourage you to be your best self. These are the individuals who add value to your life, not drama. They uplift you rather than drain you, and they challenge you in positive ways. When you focus your energy on these relationships, you'll find that you have less patience for the chaos makers. You'll recognize the toll they take on your well-being and be more motivated to distance yourself. Dealing with people who thrive on chaos requires emotional strength and self-awareness. So it's easy to get pulled into their storm, but you have to remember that their chaos is not your responsibility. You can't control their actions, but you can control your response. You can choose to protect your peace, focus on your own goals, and let go of the need to fix someone else's mess. It's not selfish, it's necessary. Ultimately, the best way to help someone who thrives on chaos is to lead by example. Show them what it looks like to live a life of purpose, clarity, and focus. Let them see that peace is possible and that it starts with taking responsibility for your own actions. But remember, their journey is theirs to take. You can't force someone to change, and you can't let their chaos derail your progress. Protect your energy, set your boundaries, and keep moving forward. There's a hard truth about energy. Yours is finite. You only have so much time, focus, and emotional capacity to give each day. When you give your energy to people who refuse to grow, who constantly demand your attention without making an effort to better themselves, you're taking that same energy away from your own goals, dreams, and responsibilities. It's not just about them, it's about you and the life you're building. You can't reach your potential if you're constantly drained by people who aren't ready to help themselves. We've all been there investing in someone because we believe in their potential. You see the spark in them, the possibility of something greater, and you want to be the person who helps them get there. But potential without action is meaningless if they're not taking steps toward growth. All the belief in the world won't make a difference. You can't want it more than they do. Every time you pour into someone who refuses to step up, you're robbing yourself of the energy needed to invest in your own progress. But think about what happens when you spend hours talking someone through their problems only for them to ignore your advice and return to the same patterns. How does that leave you feeling? Frustrated, exhausted, maybe even resentful. That's your body and mind telling you something important. This isn't a healthy dynamic. The truth is, some people don't want solutions, they want sympathy. They want your attention, not your advice. And while it's okay to lend an ear occasionally, it's not okay to let someone continually drain your energy without making any effort to improve their situation. This is not selfish to prioritize your own growth. In fact, it's necessary. If you're constantly pouring into others without refilling your own cup, you'll burn out. You'll lose the drive, focus, and clarity needed to achieve your goals. When you take care of yourself first, you're not only protecting your energy, you're also setting an example. You're showing others what it looks like to take responsibility for your life, to prioritize your goals, and to pursue excellence. That example is far more powerful than any advice you could give. There's also an important distinction to make between helping someone and enabling them. Helping means offering support to someone who's actively working to improve their situation. Enabling means doing things for them that they should be doing for themselves. When you enable someone, you're not helping them grow, you're keeping them stuck. You're allowing them to stay comfortable in their struggles instead of challenging them to rise above. Enabling may feel like kindness in the moment, but in the long run does more harm than good for both of you. You also have to recognize that not everyone is meant to go where you're going. As you climb higher, as you grow and evolve, some people will fall away. And it's not because you're better than them or because they're bad people, it's simply a matter of alignment. Not everyone is ready to grow at the same pace. Some people will stay stuck in their patterns, and that's their choice. But you don't have to let their choices hold you back. You're not obligated to carry someone else's weight, especially if they're not willing to lift it themselves. Focusing on your own growth doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It means you recognize the difference between people who genuinely want to grow and those who don't. The ones who want to grow will take the steps, even if they're small. They'll show you through their actions, not just their words. Those are the people who deserve your energy, your support, and your time. The rest? They need to figure it out on their own. That's not cruel, it's reality. You can't save someone who's not willing to save themselves. This doesn't mean you turn your back on everyone who's struggling. It means you set boundaries. It means you protect your energy and focus it where it will make the most impact. For example, if someone keeps coming to you with the same problem but refuses to take any steps to solve it, it's okay to say, I've given you my advice and now it's up to you to act on it. If they choose not to act, that's their decision, but it's not your responsibility to fix it for them. When you stop giving your energy to people who refuse to grow, you create space for the things that truly matter. You have more time and focus to invest in your goals, your passions, and the people who uplift and inspire you. You also free yourself from the frustration and resentment that comes from trying to help someone who doesn't want to be helped. That freedom is priceless and it allows you to move forward with clarity and purpose. Ultimately, your energy is one of your most valuable resources. Treat it that way. Be intentional about where and how you spend it. Protect it fiercely, not out of selfishness, but out of respect for yourself and your journey. When you do, you'll find that you're not only more productive, you're also happier, more fulfilled, and more focused on the things that truly matter. And in the process, you'll inspire others to take responsibility for their own energy and growth. Life is a series of choices, and every choice you make shapes the path you're walking. One of the most critical decisions you can make is how to spend your time and energy. Some people in your life are uplifting, inspiring, and motivate you to be the best version of yourself. Others drain you, hold you back, or keep you stuck in cycles that don't align with your goals. You need to be brutally honest about the company you keep, because over time, the people closest to you will influence your mindset, habits, and ultimately your destiny. When you spend time with people who are stagnant, negative, or unmotivated, their energy begins to rub off on you. You might not notice it at first, but it shows up in subtle ways. Maybe you start doubting yourself, procrastinating more, or settling for less than you're capable of. You might even adopt some of their habits or thought patterns, believing their excuses are valid or their limitations apply to you. These influences don't happen all at once, they creep in slowly. And before you know it, you're not moving forward like you should be. The company you keep isn't just about avoiding negativity, it's about actively seeking out people who challenge you to grow. Growth-minded individuals aren't just there to cheer you on, they hold you accountable. They ask tough questions, push you out of your comfort zone, and remind you of your potential when you start to doubt yourself. These are the people who believe in you, but won't let you settle for mediocrity. They see the greatness in you, and they won't let you forget it. You need people around you who inspire you to level up, who are pursuing their own goals with relentless determination. When you're surrounded by driven individuals, their energy becomes contagious. You see their discipline, their work ethic, and their commitment, and it pushes you to do the same. These are the people who won't let you make excuses because they're too busy working on their own dreams. They remind you what's possible when you're willing to put in the work, and they challenge you to raise your standards. On the flip side, you can't grow if you're constantly surrounded by people who thrive on excuses. Excuse makers always have a reason why they can't succeed. They'll tell you why the odds are stacked against them, why life isn't fair, and why their situation is different. They cling to their excuses because it's easier than facing the truth. Success requires effort, discipline, and sacrifice. If you're not careful, their excuses can become your excuses. You start to internalize their mindset, and before you know it, you're letting their limitations define your reality. It's hard to distance yourself from people you care about, but sometimes it's necessary. You don't have to cut people off completely, but you do need to set boundaries. If someone in your life consistently drains your energy, brings negativity into your space, or discourages your growth, it's okay to limit your interactions with them. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time or energy, especially if they're not contributing to your growth. When you start surrounding yourself with the right people, you'll notice a shift in your life. Suddenly, you're more motivated, more focused, and more driven. You're inspired to dream bigger because you're around people who are doing the same. You see what's possible, and it pushes you to aim higher. You also have a support system that lifts you up when you're struggling and celebrates with you when you succeed. These relationships are priceless, and they're worth cultivating. It's also important to remember that you have a responsibility to be that kind of person for others. Just as you need people who challenge and inspire you, others need you to do the same for them. Be the friend, mentor, or partner who lifts people up, who encourages growth, and who holds others accountable. When you do, you're not only helping them, you're reinforcing those same values in your own life. Being a source of positivity and growth for others strengthens your own commitment to those principles. Ultimately, your circle is a reflection of your standards. If you're serious about your goals, you need to be intentional about the people you let into your life. Surround yourself with individuals who align with your values, who inspire you to be better, and who support your growth. Protect your energy and invest in relationships that add value to your life. When you do, you'll find that success becomes not just a possibility, but an inevitability. You'll rise to the level of the company you keep. So make sure your circle is pushing you forward, not holding you back.